Hello everyone, I'm Devin, this is my YouTube channel, and it's time that I come clean. I took a break from the Everbook, and I regret it. Let me tell you what happened. This is my Everbook. It is made out of duct tape, and I love it. However, I took a break from it. I thought I kind of got away from it, a few busy weeks, and I thought that I could do better. And so I shifted, using getting things done from inside the Everbook, into Google Tasks. Now, Google Tasks is, in many ways, a very viable solution to implement getting things done. On David Allen's website, he has an entire guide for how to use getting things done inside Google's suite of applications. And so I literally opened up my Google Tasks and just outlined how I had it configured. I had a task list for my agendas, and within that I have one for my boss, one for my wife, one for an upcoming meeting, one for an upcoming presentation. And within each of those, in Google Tasks, you instead of making a new list for each agenda, you make a to-do task, and then in the description, or as subtasks, you can put items that belong to the agenda. Had my calls and texts list, my waiting for list, my home inside, home outside projects, someday maybe, etc., etc. It was easy to set up, really simple to transfer all the things I had in my Everbook system into Google Tasks. Pros? Infinite space. When you're working digitally, there's no end of the page. So some ways that's nice, some ways maybe it's not nice. Descriptions. So whenever you create a task in Google Tasks, you can add a description and you can add subtasks. So you can add a lot more detail at the task level. And then easy reorganizing. So this is nice. If I put something, let's say I just am a little careless, I put something in my home inside list and I go, oh no, that actually should go in the outside list. You just drag it over to the other list. Super simple. Now, here are some cons I ran into. Just infinite space is a pro. Infinite space is also a con. You see, I have the tendency to take on too much, and having an end of the page is actually a really helpful feedback mechanism to say, hey, listen, you have obligated yourself to doing a lot here. It doesn't even fit on a page. Maybe some of these need to be just gotten rid of, put on the someday maybe, or whatever. But in Google Tasks, since there's no limit to that, you never hit a hard stop of any kind. Hidden completions. So one of the nice things in working on paper is crossing things off. That as the week or the day progresses, you get a nice feedback of how much you've actually accomplished in terms of crossed off tasks. When you're working in Google, they go from being visible at the top to boop, hidden away. You can open them back up to view if you want to, but they're not right in your face. But then here's the biggest one. The distractions to my work are too close to my productivity system. See, one of the reasons I love using an Everbook for productivity is it doesn't have any notifications. Nothing dings at me. Nothing has a red badge on it. It's great. But when I'm on my computer or my phone with Google Tasks, then I've got notifications right in my face, right in the same space where I'm trying to be productive, or at least where I'm trying to plan and think about my productivity. And so, my verdict for trying to use getting things done with Google Tasks, it interrupts flow. You get into the flow state where you're moving from task to task, you're clipping along, you're in the zone. But then there's too many things, including the temptation to pull up Facebook. Bam, it's right there. So, my main reason not to use Google Tasks, it allows the interruption of flow when you find it at work. And so what did I do next? Did I just, learn my lesson, go back to my Everbook? Nope! I tried using a bullet journal. Specifically, this one. A nice Leuchtturm 1917 notebook. Now, here, as you know, in a notebook, you're beholden to the notebook. You have page after page after page. You don't get to rearrange anything. And so it's just the way I've outlined it here is Whereas with with Google Tasks, right, each little thing that you need is right next to each other all the time. With a bullet journal or any other notebook system, everything's spread apart. So I might have a calendar page that I need for today, and it is 5 pages away from my work context page. So I'm flipping back and forth from my tasks to my calendar, task to calendar. And that's 20 pages away from maybe if I have an agenda for an important meeting that day. Boom, flipping. And now if something pops up and I need to quick take notes on it, well, my blank pages are now 10 pages away from even where my agenda was. So you can see how everything is spread out. Pros, I do like the quality of these nice notebooks. I use the Leuchtturm 1917, Moleskine, and others, Rode, all the nice notebooks. The notebook quality is cool. Less space is required on your desk, right? What is the footprint for a notebook? Oh, it's super simple. Let's just, here we go. There's your footprint. All your productivity. If it's in a notebook, that's it. Just the size of the notebook. I understand with an Everbook, you can get spread out over a larger desk space if you have a lot of pages. Nothing falls out. I was kind of reaching for this one because nothing falls out of my Everbook either, but hey, you never have to worry, is a page going to fall out of my notebook because they're all bound in there. Cons though, mistakes are permanent. This is especially true if you've seen my calendar pages. I like to kind of draw out the little squares and stuff. If you do that incorrectly in a notebook, you have to sacrifice the whole page. You don't get to replace it with a clean slate. And so that's kind of a bummer. Non-infinite new pages. So when you first open a new notebook, it's great because you can just keep going and going and going with new pages. But as you get toward the end of the notebook, you start being more mindful of what not to write down, which sometimes is going to shift from your notebook being helpful to now your notebook is foisting your responsibilities onto your brain to store information because you don't think you have enough pages, and that's just not good. The Everbook is so much better because you just always have fresh pages. If there's something you need to remember, you don't ask your brain to remember it, you write it down on a blank piece of paper. Boom, remembered. But the biggest thing is the distance between pages. The distance between pages. And the reason this is such a problem, as I say, is the problem of being out of sight, out of mind. So the calendar is so far away from my work tasks, I'm never looking at both at the same time. I'm always looking at one or the other, and one or the other. And you hope that after a fatiguing day of meetings and spreadsheets and presentations and who knows what else, that I have the mind space to remember, oh yeah, there were unfinished tasks on the calendar, so we better switch back to that page. Oh yeah, there was something I wrote down in the agenda that I need to make sure I review, so let's make sure we flip back over to that page. No! In theory, you're going to do that. In actuality, I never do that. I look at the pages in front of me, and my brain forgets all the other pages exist, and it's terrible for my productivity. So that is a big con, the distance between pages. So, I say all of that. My verdict on using a bullet journal to implement getting things done: it inhibits flow. It is so difficult to stay in a place of flow when you have to simultaneously be mindful about the tasks in front of you and to flip back and forth between all these pages. Sure, some of you out there watching, you've done it, you're great at it, congratulations. I'm not one of those people. I don't intend to become one of those people because I use an Everbook. And here is what that experience feels like. When I sit down for work, what do I have in front of me? Very simple. I pull out a calendar page. I set it on my desk. I pull out my at work page, which has all my tasks related to work that I need to do. It's right there on my desk. And my waiting for, and I set it right in front of me on my desk. And now all 3 of these are present to my awareness all day long. Plus, I often will have right next to it some bundles. I might have my projects bundle, my reference bundle, blank pages, of course, and inbox. So I am just ready to move quickly and work through all of my stuff My productivity, it's just so simple. And so this is where we go. Pros, a just right, context-specific information. Just right. I pull out what I need and nothing more. If I find I don't need something, I can just put it away. It's brilliant. I can throw away mistakes. I do this all the time, where I'm making a bunch of calendar template pages and I miss something. I do it wrong. I just throw it in the trash, get out another piece of paper, and try again. And then unlimited customization. If you've seen my other videos, you know the different ways that I've implemented Everbook, or getting things done in the Everbook. You can do it my way, you can do it your way. The Everbook is more like an open platform. It's great. Cons. Con number 1. You have to explain to your friends what the word Everbook means. I mean, Google Tasks, people know what that is. A bullet journal, people basically know what that is too. Everbook, very few people have heard of that at this point, and so you have to walk them through it if you're going to talk about it. You do need more desk space. So the footprint for doing this, right? The notebook could have just been 2 pages wide, but now it's 3 pages wide, plus if these are all in a pile, that's 4 pages wide. You do need a space in your desk to really do this nicely, but you don't have to do it that way. You can, figure it out. And then everything else is now going to feel disappointing. Now I have experienced this personally, a con of using the Everbook as a productivity system. As I try to be productive in other formats or other media, it just does not feel as flexible and fulfilling. I don't know how to describe it, but it's one of those points of no return, I suppose. But all that to say, because of the context-specific, just right level of information, the Everbook enables flow. And if you've never tried doing an Everbook, I think it's really worth your time to give it a shot, just to try to experience this, especially as a knowledge worker. In management, in sales, in any of these jobs where you just feel like you're clunking along from task to task to task, organizing your productivity into getting things done as a system and using the Everbook as a platform within which you build out that system, it's a winner. You got to try it. And then don't be dumb like me. Don't do it in a traditional notebook. Don't try to do it digitally. Just do it the right way from the get-go. Use an Everbook. You'll be glad you did. Thanks for watching.